Now, choledochal cyst is an important topic. It refers to congenital dilatations of the common bile duct that can cause progressive biliary obstruction as well as biliary cirrhosis. Now, this is the definition which is given in Nelson 21st edition. However, if you look at the journals, they say that many of the authors are of the opinion that the term choledochal cyst should be replaced by the term biliary cysts or hepatobiliary cysts. Reason being that in some forms, that is type 4 and type 5, you find that it is not the common bile duct which is involved, but in fact the cysts occur in the intrahepatic part of the biliary system as well. So, biliary cyst or hepatobiliary cyst is the proposed term. However, if you look at the standard books, still the term choledochal cyst is used wherever it is possible. Choledochal cyst, what are the 2 or 3 things which you should know? First of all, females are more commonly affected than males, particularly in the common varieties, that is type 1 as well as type 4. In type 1, females are more commonly affected. Type 1 comprises almost 80% of the choledochal cysts. So, overall also you can say that females are more commonly affected. Secondly, choledochal cysts are more common in Asian population as compared to the Western population. In Asia, the highest risk is seen in Japanese population, followed by the Koreans. So, Japanese and Koreans are predisposed to choledochal cyst. Having said that, choledochal cysts can occur in the Indian subcontinent as well. Now, what are the pathogenetic mechanisms involved in choledochal cyst? The exact pathogenetic mechanism is uncertain, but many theories exist. One of the commonly accepted hypotheses which is applicable in the common variety of choledochal cyst is there is anomalous pancreatico-biliary junction in these patients. It is, in short, it is written as APBJ. There is in which there is injury to CBD due to reflux of the pancreatic enzymes. Let us try to understand what is happening here. You know that common bile duct joins with pancreatic duct, and they through the sphincter of Oddi they open into the second part of duodenum, right? Now, when this opening is there, normally what happens? Let us talk about a normal person. This is the duodenum. Okay. Now, this is your common bile duct coming, and this is your pancreatic duct which is coming. Normally, they both will join just before they open into the second part of duodenum. So, this sphincter of Oddi which is present, it is thick enough to cover this junction so that any biliary component is not able to go into pancreatic duct, and pancreatic component is not going to go into biliary duct, and both of them through this common channel they go only into the duodenum. This is what normally happens. Now imagine a scenario where this junction occurs not just before duodenum, it occurs higher than that. Imagine it is happening like this. This is the duodenum. Okay, this is the common bile duct, this is the pancreatic duct, and they are joining like this, and then they are opening. So what will happen is this abnormal or anomalous pancreatico-biliary junction, what it will do is now biliary content can reflux into here, and this content can reflux into here. This reflux of pancreatic enzymes in utero as well as in the early natal period can cause cystic dilatation, inflammation, and cause choledochal cyst. And in later stages, it can also increase the risk of malignancies like cholangiocarcinoma. So, if I have to show you a picture, this is the photograph which is given in some of the standard journals and one standard textbook as well, that there is pancreatico-biliary reflex or the pancreatic enzymes entering into the biliary tree which cause this dilatation or choledochal cyst formation. So, this is one of the commonly accepted hypotheses. You can remember that APBJ is responsible for the most common variety, that is type 1 cysts. However, whether it is involved directly or not in the other forms is still a matter of conjecture. A second theory says that there is increased CBD luminal pressure due to distal stenosis, that during development there may be stenosis at the opening of the common bile duct distally, and due to that there may be increased intraluminal pressure producing cystic swelling. Thirdly, some authors say that choledochal cysts are basically malformations of the biliary tree only. And fourth theory says they are part of spectrum of extrahepatic biliary atresia and idiopathic neonatal hepatitis. In reality, choledochal cyst is not one form, there are multiple forms, and so one or more of these theories may be applicable in the pathogenesis. As an extra edge point, you can remember that there is a rare form known as type 5 choledochal cyst, also called as Caroli's disease, which is due to malformations involving the ductal plate. So, ductal plate malformations are responsible for type 5 choledochal cyst. Not mentioned in Nelson directly, but mentioned in other standard textbooks. So, after this pathogenesis, let us talk about the types of choledochal cyst. The classification we follow is known as Todani's classification. This is the Todani's classification which we follow. According to Todani's classification, the choledochal cysts are divided into 5 types: 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Type 1, there is dilatation of the extrahepatic bile duct only. Type 1, it is seen in 80 to 85% cases of children as well as young adults with choledochal cysts. So, most common variety is type 1. Type 1 is further divided into type 1A, 1B and 1C. In 1A, there is cystic dilatation. Cyst formation happens of a specific part. In type 1B, there is a small sac-like dilatation which is smaller as compared to type 1A. And third, there is not a single swelling. The entire common bile duct is swollen like a fusiform swelling. So, if normal is this, it becomes swollen, the entire part becomes swollen like this. So, this is type 1C. So, cystic is 1A, saccular is 1B and 1C is fusiform. Then you have type 2 where the common bile duct itself is fine, but there is a small pouch forming from that. So, diverticular formation is type 2. So, as you can see here, this is the type 2 or diverticular formation. Type 3 is choledococele. Potential MCQ. What is choledococele? It is type 3. There is dilatation in the intraluminal portion of CBD. Once it has opened into duodenum, some part of the common bile duct will herniate inside and form a cystic dilatation. It can also cause stenosis and back pressure changes. So, type 3 is the intraduodenal part becomes dilated. Type 4, there is intrahepatic as well as extrahepatic duct dilatation. So, the smaller ducts are involved. Type 4A, both intra and extrahepatic ducts are involved. Type 4B, multiple extrahepatic cysts are there, intrahepatic are not there. And type C, only intrahepatic ducts are showing the cystic formation. It is also called as Caroli's disease. So, type 1 to type 5, these are the Todani's classification. If you look at Nelson 21st edition, you will find that in the photograph given in Nelson, they have mentioned it correctly. But in the text of Nelson, they have made an error. Everybody can make error. All humans make error. Nelson is also written by human beings only. So, that book has also created an error. They have written that type 4A they have mentioned as Caroli's disease. It is not 4A or 4B. It is type 5 which is Caroli's disease. So, this is one point which you must remember and not get swayed by what is written there. So, this is the choledochal cyst classification. So, moving over to, as you can see in 4A, there are intra and extrahepatic cyst formation. In type 4B, only extrahepatic multiple cysts are getting formed. The intra ones are not getting involved. Whereas in type 5, only the smaller intrahepatic ducts are getting involved. The extrahepatic, this is the liver. So, outside, there are no cysts being present. So, that is Caroli's disease. Now, MCQ point. What is Caroli's syndrome? It is the same. Is it the same as Caroli's disease? Yes and no. If Caroli's cyst, that is type 5, it is associated with congenital hepatic fibrosis, we call it as Caroli's syndrome. So, Caroli disease with fibrosis of the liver is called as Caroli's syndrome. This is an MCQ point and you must remember for your exams. Now, moving to the clinical features of choledochal cyst. What are the clinical features you come across? Now, almost 75% of these patients present in infancy or early childhood. So, majority of them will present in the infancy or early childhood. 20% cases will present in late childhood or adolescent period, while 5% cases will have presentation, they will present beyond 25 years of age. Now, children who present early as well as in the early childhood, the infancy period, the presenting features in these children will include features related to cholestatic jaundice. So, there will be cholestatic jaundice, that is yellowish discoloration. They will have clay colored stools. They will have pruritus. And if nothing is done due to biliary bile not getting drained into the gut, there will be two type of features. One, there will be progressive biliary distension and progressive inflammation resulting in portal hypertension developing. So they will have features of portal hypertension, plus the fat soluble vitamins, they will not get absorbed because the biliary components are not getting released, and so it will further cause malnutrition related problems. So two types of presentations will happen. So cholestatic jaundice and pruritus will always be present. As the disease manifests further, you will find that some of these children will tend to develop failure to thrive, and they will have vitamin deficiency states involving A, D, E and K. But these manifestations are usually late to develop. Earlier to develop than these manifestations are features related to portal hypertension. And portal hypertension will be exaggerated, it will be faster if some hepatic fibrosis is also present, which can be one of the associations in some of these patients. So portal hypertension will lead to all those things which you read, like ascites, there may be coagulopathy, there may be acute liver failure or chronic liver failure, eventually the patient requiring liver transplant. So this is the presentation in majority of these children. In children who present late or adolescent period, they will have the presentation in the form of pain, mass and jaundice. This was the original triad proposed when choledochal cysts were first described, but it is normally seen in only about 1/3 of the patients. And there will also be features of episodes of ascending cholangitis happening in them. Now you need to understand, if the stenosis is severe, the disease will manifest early and it will have portal hypertension like changes. If the stenosis is not severe and there is only dilatation, then reflux will be more, and so cholangitis, pain, mass, jaundice, all these features will be there and presentation will be late. And patients who present beyond 25 years of age, they are rare. They will usually present with mild jaundice associated with right upper quadrant pain. So these are the different types of presentations which you will find in choledochal cyst. Now, what is the clinical presentation in Caroli disease or Caroli syndrome? Now, you need to remember that in Caroli disease or Caroli syndrome, the stenosis is not prominent. Stenosis is not prominent. So, because stenosis is not prominent, the features will not present in the form of, obstruction like features like failure to thrive, fat soluble vitamins not getting, those features will not be there. However, since fibrosis or hepatic fibrosis is common, they will have features related to portal hypertension presenting early. So you will have bleeding varices, you may have ascites and related complications which you have read multiple times. Plus, they will also have significantly increased risk of ascending cholangitis. Point to remember, jaundice may or may not be present in Caroli's disease. Very, very important. In the NEET PG type of exams, which all of you have already gone through, we are not going to give again. In those type of statement based questions, this point has once been asked. So this can be useful for your NEET super specialty point of view as well. So this is the clinical presentation. Now moving over to investigations. Obviously the investigations which you need to perform in these children, they include the liver function test, which will show the usual pattern. There will be conjugated hyperbilirubinemia, raised alkaline phosphatase, raised GGT and raised 5-nucleotidase. You will perform ultrasonography. Ultrasonography is a good screening test, but can miss some of the smaller forms, and MRCP is considered to be the gold standard investigation for these patients. ERCP is not performed because it is invasive, and CT cholangiography has now been replaced by magnetic resonance cholangiopancreatography. So MRCP is to be done in these patients. Coming to treatment, the treatment of choice in most of these choledochal cysts is excision of the cyst along with Roux-en-Y hepatico-jejunostomy. So excision of the cyst is clear. What you will do is, to maintain the biliary flow, you will use a Roux limb, also called as a bypass limb, and using that you will connect the remnant of the biliary tree or the bile duct, whatever the remnant is there, and directly join it to the jejunum. So excision of cyst along with Roux-en-Y hepatico-jejunostomy is the procedure of choice, as mentioned in Nelson as well as in Sebastian. And of course, while before the patient undergoes treatment, you will also give symptomatic therapy. If pruritus is prominent, you can give cholestyramine, you can use ursodiol, and you can use even rifampicin for pruritic symptoms, but the therapy of choice is always surgical. As you can see here, this is the Roux-en-Y jejunostomy which has been done. So the remnant bile duct is attached to this Roux limb, which is attached further to the remaining part of the duodenum. So this is the normal part which is coming, and then this is the Roux limb which will divert the biliary tract into this common channel. So this is the Roux-en-Y. So you may get a question based upon this. They may show you this picture and ask you what is the procedure being done, or what could have been the likely condition in the child. The likely condition could have been a choledochal cyst. Now, few words regarding autosomal dominant